what is the minimum investment to start off, especially if anyone is looking to start off this journey with you? I mean, I'm looking at you. I'm not looking at SL. I'm looking at you as a driver, and I'll be looking at you for my exit, because I believed Shishir as the guy who's leading this, and I'll be exiting looking at Shishir because he recommended this startup. So definitely everyone does their due diligence, but at the end of the day, someone has to look at someone to really
Correct.
drive this. So that is the kind of trust and a network that you are looking to build, and that's the kind of trust network I'm looking to build with you personally over certain, I mean, maybe not now, but maybe 6 months down the line I'll invest in. So what is the minimum I'm looking at? What is, how it really works out? Do we have a flow chart kind of thing that really helps in kind of step-by-step process? Do we have the term sheets in place? lot of due diligence goes in typical investing in angel, and then how many units will be given to me on a typical investment? Do we have a mapping around, let's say 10 lakhs invested, and how many units or how many percentage in a typical startup? What kind of negotiations that actually goes with founders? So there are a lot of different questions I will mail you around on a personal basis. But yeah, I mean, that's overall thing I'm looking at this typical initiative. Yeah, thank you.
What I'll do is I'll show you term sheet that we recently made, right? And I would request you not to take any screenshot of this, right? But because term sheets are highly confidential, this is for your reference only. Let me share that.
Sure. Thanks a lot. Yeah, appreciate that.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, yes, I can see that. Yeah.
Right. So this is how it goes on. In the term sheet, you have the name of the investee company, then who's the investor. This is made for every investor, but the names of the investors goes at the bottom, right? The valuation of the company, amount of offering, okay? Capitalization, that I'll show you that capitalization table, cap table. What is the price per share? So this price in this case of Cryptmedia is 20,000. Mode of investment, right? This is very much obvious. Then the bank account number, instrument, conversion price and terms, what kind of share will be there. So here we are in this, it is.
Yeah, I mean,
CCPS.
This price per share is something very, very interesting. I mean, I'm not taking much time because you have very limited time. So this price per share discussion with founders, how do you arrive to a typical figure and how do you define that? Because it may be different.
No, this is not different for anyone. This will remain same for everyone, and investors don't decide this. This is coming out from the valuation that you decide, right? So if you, for this, the valuation has been accepted as 20 crore by all the investors. So I'll show you the cap table. Sure. If I show you, you will get, and these are all, rights and privileges, not very much important as of now. Let me show you the cap table, which is most important part, right? So this is how the structure is, and this is actual, right? There are two founders, Karan and Prashant. Karan has 7,600 shares. Prashant has 2,400 shares. This is called pre-money valuation and the capital structure before the investment. After the investment, this is the structure. And this is how it is. This will look like after this investment is completed. Karan still have 7,600 shares. Prashant still has 2,400 shares. Nobody is taking their share. Then Gopal Krishnan Seturamanji will get 13 shares. Tushar Shah will get 25 shares. Ankit Sharma will get 13 shares. Deepesh ji will get 50 shares. Soumyadeep will get 50 shares. This is how this is prepared. And what is the contribution they are making and the percentage of shareholding. Once the amount is transferred, this is closed, right? So that's how our term sheets look like. I thought I should show you the actual one. And we are there to, evaluate this term sheet, and we will do 3 types of due diligence after this. One due diligence is the legal. We check all the compliances and all. Then the financial, whether the numbers are in place or not. The chartered accountant will do, legal will be done by a lawyer. External, we don't do it ourselves. We give it to an external party. And then we do a business audit. Whether the market numbers, size, everything is good or not, any discrepancy or any data missing. And finally, if it is a pure tech company, we can also do the tech audit. We have the capabilities of checking the code, whether they are using their own code or they are using something which is ready-made available, whether they have the IP or not, whether they are using somebody else's code and showing it as a white label product as their own. So everything could be checked. We have those capabilities and the system is already there in the market.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, but the question was that what is the minimum investment?
1 lakh rupees. We can also have 1 lakh rupees invested. That is
yeah. So Shishir, hi, this is Harihar. Interestingly, I attended the Crip Media introduction by the founder. One question pertaining to the discussion which actually got opened up during the conversation, because there were some people who had a question in mind about the valuation, 20 crore valuation. The answer that came in from founder was this is a valuation that is done by SL team, so might as well you debate or you talk to SL team to see why and how this 20 crore valuation has come. But if you are going to be an angel investor, I'm open for a negotiation, is what the comment made by the founder.
Okay.
The question related to these are two. One is, how do you do the valuation? Because the founder was not very forthcoming in sharing that information. Second is, post your valuation, what if the founder is open for negotiation in terms of the valuation and the share price? Would you or your company have any say in that, or it will be completely open for the investor and the founder to take things forward?
See, technically valuation is like a box. It gets the value from what you keep inside the box. So if you put gold, it gets the value of the gold. If you put a fixed deposit, it gets the value of the fixed deposit. If you just put scrap into it, it will get the value of the scrap, right? And it also gets the value which is into the future. Like I told you about fixed deposit. If you put in fixed deposit, you calculate the interest also. And I told you some points, A to Z 27 points. These are the base of the valuation, right? So I'll share that screen. That will clear out a lot of things. So this is a typical valuation on which we make. See, I told you about 27 points. These are the points we consider. We consider patent, trademarks, like this I've already explained, right? And this is actually what we do. And we have already shared a research report also with you. So on these points, A to Z, there are 27 points. We extensively research and arrive to a valuation. But the most important part here is, valuation is something that is accepted between both two parties. Like you buy a product, or suppose I'll tell you, let's say example, your friend gives you a watch which does not have a brand name. It is coming from Germany. It looks very expensive, but you need to sell it for some reason. It could be anything. Now, how would you value that? So your expectations will also play a very good role. If somebody gives you say 500 rupees, you will say, I will not sell it off. Why should I sell this watch? I will keep it with me. But if you are expecting say 20,000 INR and somebody offers you 15,000, then this discussion starts. Right? So it's more of about your expectations, what is inside. There is no hard and fast rule in the entire world. No hard and fast rule, which is 100% appropriate to value a startup which is not funded yet. After the funding, it will take up the price of the last year, right? So this valuation will be established now, because now all the investors have agreed to it. This is the valuation. This valuation will not come down. Next round, it will become say 30 crores. Right now it is 20. We are already planning the second round for them. And in that tranche, it will be 30 crores valuation. So that the first investor gets 10 crore jump. So if you have invested 5 lakh rupees, you can expect that particular jump, or 1 lakh, whatever you have invested, you can expect that jump in the very next round itself. So, and that should be the case. It should not be the stable valuation. If you're not able to increase the valuation, then investors will not get be very much happy. But how would they increase the valuation? Obviously by utilizing this 50 lakh rupees that comes into their company in acquiring more customers, right? In making better IPs, in expanding their base, scaling up, reaching new markets, approaching new customers. So that is how this valuation will be increased. And once it is increased and other investors agree to 30 crores, this is another, I'll tell you, general rule. Suppose negotiation is inbuilt in all of us, right? So I don't know, we might have given them a valuation of 25 crores or something, then they have negotiated to 20 crores. This would happen. So next round also, maybe the valuation comes out to be 35, then they would negotiate to 30. This would happen. This negotiation gives us, some sense of winning. So this is inbuilt. This is coming from emotions. You cannot take it out.
Shishir, I have one specific thing to share, and maybe as this is not a question. See, I have just joined this network 2 weeks ago, and I'm quite excited to see, the professional way of engagement and working. But my specific point is, in last 2 weeks, I was invited for 3 presentations, and I could manage to attend 2 of them completely, start to end, but I could somehow not manage to attend the 3rd one. Nevertheless, my point is there could have been many presentations that may have happened before I joined this network 2 weeks ago. So how do I get to know about them, whether their investment rounds are completed or they are going in for the 2nd round or 3rd round and all those things. So historical startup presentations is one area which I would want to get a preview if possible. That is point number 1. Point number 2 is, I would be also wanting to have, if it is possible from your side, to extend interest-based invites. Example, I'm more keen for technologies that are transforming rural India or rural sector for that matter, because that is where huge potential lies as on date. Tech-based startups which are related to finance or healthcare are the second area where I am very keen to. So if I get to hear or I get to see something which is very related to these things, I'll be more happy to attend all those presentations and also take things forward from an investment perspective. Although all other startups are excellent and they have their own great ideas, but then this is what my personal liking is, and this is where I would want to put my money. So these are the 2 points, Shishir, I just wanted to quickly highlight before it goes long.
Yeah, I'll share my experience with you. There was a site called StumbleUpon. Right, that was a site like we do. How do we open a website? We search on the Google, or maybe we know the website address right directly, so we go there. But it gives us the limited knowledge because it is about the area or of our interest what we are doing. But there was a site called StumbleUpon. I started browsing that site, and that was a random site. It was giving you some random sites, and I gained a lot of information about things I never knew. So this gave us this idea to build up something which is sector agnostic, wherein if you participate in all these discussions, you will also get knowledge about something you don't know about. So we have not limited ourselves for a particular sector, but yes, later on what we are planning to do is to create discussion groups, like on the basis of your interest. Other investors will be clubbed into your discussion group, and probably we can have a clubhouse meeting or maybe a Zoom discussion, and then we can start fetching similar startups. Until and unless we have a sizable number of investors, we cannot fetch or shortlist a startup on that basis. Suppose somebody says, I want NLP startup. Okay, but if we have only 2 or 3 investors, it is difficult for us. It's not difficult for us to source, but it is difficult for us to get it funded then, because 2 or 3 investors cannot complete or may not be in a position, or they don't want to put in their entire funds, right? They don't want to complete that round. So it is our responsibility to complete that round. Another question or suggestion that you were asking about is, so for as far as the past ones are concerned, I'll tell you there are some certain activities that we are doing. Suppose a startup like for Crypt Media, we are preparing for the next round. So we have to necessarily seize the one which is already done, because the next investor, if we are inviting, this is like, we don't want to get into the emotional game. What happens is it hits our emotions when a new investor get to know that recently, just few days ago, this investment happened at a valuation of 20 crores. Now I'm offered 30 crores in 15 days or 30 days, right? Imagine if you think yourself, you will also feel the same way, right? But if you have missed that round, that is okay. you can still invest. This has happened with me also, right? I have missed ShareChat. I was there in that round. They asked for 1 crore rupees. We were 5 investors. I missed it. Now it has become a unicorn. More than that, right? Similarly, I have missed a lot of investments. Like, you know, I missed out Asian Paints once, and it was 600 rupees. Now it is 3,000 rupees. And in between, I did a lot of times trading, but I'm not a full-time investor into Asian Paints. Same happened with Berger. I am a full-time investor of Berger, but you know, when it suppose I sell it today at price of say 800 and it becomes 900, I will hesitate to buy it again because I sold it for 700. So this is something, you know, emotional that happens to us, and we don't want to create such barriers. That is why we just remove once a round is completed, completely out of it. We may not announce it because I'll tell you a basic reason for it. Suppose a startup don't want to announce that, or even we don't want to announce that we have raised only 50 lakh for a particular startup. We will announce it once $500,000 is completed. In between, there might be 3 sessions or 4 sessions, the same kind of demo days. But once it is completed, then we will announce. It looks good only once the amount is sizable, right? So that is what we want to do. We don't want to announce at 25 lakhs or 50 lakhs. So we keep it on hold. But yes, the rounds which are open, like Garuda and Crypt Media, both recordings could be shared with you. And in case you are interested, you can still participate in these.
Thank you so much.
I also participated in JJ Techs. So subsequent to that, there is no update on that.
Yeah, we are, you know, still collecting interest. I have personally discussed with 2 of the investors. They are interested in putting in funds. I have noted down yours also. Kajal will contact.
Thank you.
Yes, Shishir, Neeraj this side.
Yeah.
First of all, you are doing really a great work. I'm connected with you on LinkedIn and seeing a lot of posts coming in from your side, and you're really building a good personal brand, I would say. I want to talk about startup lanes as a brand, because if a good startup, how you attract that startup that it should come to startup lanes as a platform to get investments, because trophy clients is a big word. Everyone knows that when in initial state if someone gets a trophy client, then that's a good win. I am having someone, a big name in the industry or in the public domain, that he's my client. And then you can attract more clients based on that. But again, investor is also something who everyone wants, that yes, I should have a trophy investor, which I can say that person has invested in me. We are getting guidance, we are getting coaching, we are getting mentorship, and we are progressing with him. So to get that kind of branding for startup lanes, how you are working on that? This is very basic questions. You are going on higher level questions. So I thought I am coming a little back to it, but I want to ask this. And another thing is how you support when a startup is onboarded, gets investments and everything. So how you are supporting that startup and the investor to drive it further. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. See, Startup Lanes is an ecosystem which is yet evolving. Like, my vision is to generate 1 million jobs for our country. Right? It's easy to say, but very, very difficult to implement. Generating 1 million jobs, I can write it on my title. I have not written it, but I'm just saying I can write it. It is easy, but it is really, really difficult to get this implemented. Right? For that particular purpose, we are doing lot of things in the background. Like I told you, the decision makers, the corporate decision makers of this country they are a handful. In fact, all the CXOs of big companies, they decide what happens in this country. We are creating the relationships with them. Big ticket money only comes from the public, and this public work goes to the corporates because startups are not eligible for it. After government taking that particular work, it goes to a big corporate, like say Aadhaar card work went to Infosys, then the passport work went to TCS. But they also outsource. So we are building that relationship. so that our startups, I'm not talking about only about the startups funded by Startup Lanes, I'm talking about everybody, even a startup which is into our acceleration. We are a freemium accelerator also, freemium, completely free for everybody to join as a bronze member. So we try to get business for them also, a big ticket business, because most of the startups, they end up getting business from other startups or SMEs, which don't have a big ticket themselves. For getting big tickets business, you need to get something from the corporate sector, and we are building that, step by step. Once we have relationship with a CXO, they also have requirements, right? They give it to us, and we want to give it to the startup. This is one. We want to take them as mentors. They are the decision makers of the nation. Side by side, we are liaising and lobbying with the government. Now comes your point. How do you guide those startups? We have hell lot of activities, not a classroom program, but hell lot of activities for these startups to connect back, interact with each other, engage, and get some mentorships, guidance, support from our side. Plus, we as a network are present in multi-cities, 56 cities. So what we can give them immediately is, we can give them plug-and-play system to expand into different cities, right? Like we have just started for a very prominent fashion designing institute in India. We have 65 centers. We are starting to build their franchisees now, expanding their franchisees to 300, right? Through our network. Startup Lanes already has 50 lakh subscribers who are SMEs, MSMEs in fact, micro and small and medium enterprises. These people regularly receive our communication. They have subscribed to our mailing list. So it's something big. Even if we push a product to this particular subscriber base, any product, I'm confident we can sell anything. So we are building that base, and we are going to make some automized tool in the future, so that these startups don't have to look here and there. They get into the success line. Startup Lanes, if you look at our motto is funding, branding, and sales. Funding may happen, once, twice, or thrice, or 4 times, but branding is something that happens every day. We are building our channel at a very fast pace. YouTube channel I'm talking about. Just like my personal social media, we have started building that YouTube channel. Right now we have only around 3,000 subscribers, but if you go back 2 months ago, we were only having 300 subscribers. So 10 times jump, right? By the end of December this year, we will be having more than 100,000 subscribers who are organic, not a paid one. This will give a boost to everybody. So we are building that reach. We are already doing that. We are inviting every common entrepreneur, not the celebrity entrepreneur. Underline this, common entrepreneur who has not raised fund, who has not done anything that gets into the media. We are taking them, we are interviewing them, editing their videos, doing everything from our side, and publishing their interviews, so that they also get exposure. We are focusing on those people who are not getting the mainstream attraction, especially. And on the other side also, we are doing interviews. We are connecting people who are CXOs who don't get all the attention. Everybody knows who's the managing director of Reliance, but not many people know who's the CTO, who's the CFO, who's the CIO. So that is important. We are reaching them out, and as an ecosystem, we are connecting all the dots. So this might take up time. We have been doing it this since long, but this still might take up time. What we are doing is something really big. But yes, we are growing step by step, every day, slowly and gradually. Pandemic has not hit us, and thank God, thanks to all of you for your support. Everything is moving ahead in the right direction. I believe that within next 3 to 5 years, we will be able to achieve this distant dream of generating 1 million employment for India. I hope so, with all your support. Thank you so much.
One more question over here. I want you to ask that, what kind of startups Startup Lanes is looking at in terms of, what kind of, in terms of what stage, like idea level, or MVP level, or business level, or traction level, or scaling level.
Yeah. So to be honest, we want to play safe. We are not taking any idea based as of now. We want them to have at least 10,000 rupees INR of revenue per month. This is the minimum requirement. We don't want to give our investor any startup that may have a risk of shutting down, right? So that's very important. We are taking only, because most of the startups got shut down because of lack of revenue in the development stage itself, right?
Yes.
And most of the startups that became successful, because this was common, they were into revenue stage. So once a revenue is there and profitability has to be there, it should not be like, you are buying something expensive, selling cheap. You can't do this forever, right? And those who do this, they get disrupted by somebody else, right? So once the market is created, I'm sure, and this is truth, if Uber and Ola increase their prices, then definitely new player will enter and disrupt them both, right? So that is how you have to stay in the game, do deep discounting forever with the VC money. You can't win like that, right? So we find out startups which can have near, and that I told you 2 times, in fact, initially, and I showed you in our valuation, we check this profitability. If you see, we check this 3 times. What is your profit margin? What is your profitability, and what are your profitability expectations, right? That's very important number for us. But let me also tell you, we try to avoid the profitable startups from day one. You might be surprised or shocked, or you don't like it. But what happens is, generally, having profits at early stage show that you are not expanding, you are not scaling up. This is suppose you drawing the profit show that now you want to stop and you are taking home money. But if you're not drawing the profits, you are ploughing back into the company, into the capital, scaling up. That's good. So we find out whether it is a made up profit or made up loss or made up scaling up, or it is actual. And obviously all of you, those who are experienced, they know how to do it. But those who are new will get that experience how to do it. Once you do it again and again, once you participate in all those sessions, from the questions of others you learn. And we have prepared an FAQ. We can share that FAQ with you. You can go through that and you can ask those questions.
Sure. Thank you.
Shishir, one final question before you wrap up.
Yeah.
Nagaraj, yesterday also I was on the call.
Okay.
So basically, since many of the people like me who have missed the bus, for the last 10 years, now we can see the startups are going to IPO way. So is it possible to invest in multiple startups and being a shareholder? I think you were referring to yesterday, not necessarily being a director.
No, you can invest into n number of startups. You were present in the incubation meeting, and that was different, right? So in terms of incubation, we need active co-founders. For the Project Gantri, we are looking for people who can actually participate, because you will be, as a co-founder, you will be getting share at 10 rupees, right? But like I showed you, investors will be getting the same share for 20,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees, right? So because in founders build that company, once they build, they put in their own money, they scale up, right? And then investment stage will. So we are not taking investment into Project Gantri as of now. We are building that, right? Once it is built. But yes, as an investor, you can invest into n number of startups. There is no cap on that particular thing. Government is very happy to promote this environment. And really, I'm in touch with a lot of government people. They are really, really, really pushing this. You will see a lot of more IPOs coming, and SEBI might relax more rules. And you might see, a lot of other companies coming up forward to raise capital. Zomato has changed the entire game. Now loss-making companies are also accepted, right? Earlier it was like, strict rules of SEBI. 3 years consecutive profits must be there for even filing. Now you can list yourself, right? And then your share goes up. This is something which has never happened in India. This is for the first time, and this is really very good for the country. This is a very good time.
I have one last question.
Please go ahead.
Does that mean that any investment option you are giving through startup lanes, there is a decent diligence which has already gone into, and we are assured to a great extent that it will fetch us returns?
Yes, we try to, because it is in our own favor to showcase good startups which could scale up, which could become big. This is because this is a multiplier. one investor brings in 100 more investors when they are personally able to vouch, right? So if you make money, you will definitely, and this is how all organizations have grown in the US, or this is how we will grow as an angel network. No other way, right? We cannot keep on finding new investors from everywhere, and they will come and they will go. But people coming from references, from your personal vouch, they will definitely, join and invest, and they will stay. That is how investment industries pass on through generations. I have seen family offices. They do not change their channel of investing. They keep on investing through the same channel. My friend is a third generation family who has been catering to Tatas and Birlas in their investments. Obviously, angel investing was not there, so they are into share market. But now this is going to happen. Same happened with real estate. You go to Delhi, there is somebody called Shaukin. They deal into farmhouses, and over the generations, they have been helping. A lot of so such industries. Same has happened in US, and same will happen in India also. Once you make money, you tell this to others, and father tell this to the son that keep investing. That is how this builds, and this is the best kind of investment opportunity as of now, because the public is really feeling excited to invest in the IPOs, and till the time IPOs are accepted and fully subscribed, this is a good time for all the startups.
Okay, Shishir, my question is maybe a little away from the discussion here. We also might have experienced some failures in this startup. So do we have any report card of yours where the previous startups, or which have been funded also, have gone down on the failure line, and there were lessons were learned? And is there any report card summary that we can have a look at it? Which ones, not everybody would have succeeded, some would have gone at par, some would have gone below the zero line also. So do you have this kind of a record?
Actually, we can do this in a closed door session. I can share that experience with you, but I cannot share a document, to be honest. I cannot. It's very immoral on my part. I feel this. I may be wrong, but to say that this guy failed because of lack of experience or because of this, and according to them, this might be wrong. If that document reaches them, they will feel bad about it. So I can discuss one-on-one in a closed door room, and I can share a lot of my experiences with you. And but I'm sorry, we cannot share that document of failure, because this involves somebody else. Like, we can definitely share our experience in a closed door meeting.
Okay, understood. Thanks.
Hi Shishir, this is Siddharth Gupta. So firstly, would like to congratulate you. I'm a big fan of Shark Tank, and I always used to view it as a viewer and not really expecting it to be part of it ever. But I think Startup Lanes is the right direction, in which it's like a mini Shark Tank, if you may, and it gives us an opportunity to think of investing in startups. So congratulations for starting.
Thank you so much.
Shishir, one point. So I understand that you are an investor yourself and you want to start at the right time, investing at the right time and all that. But before that, all of us, including you, would have invested in other asset classes like share market and gold and property before taking the plunge into this. So I had written to you one-on-one also. Is it possible that if we can have a forum like this on real estate or on share market? Now, typically what happens is we have our own group of people, say in share market, friends and family, who have a similar mindset. Here there are 257 people in a WhatsApp group with different experiences and very, very different ideologies maybe, and ways of...
You got on mute, Siddharth.
Sorry, I got a call. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Now, go ahead.
Yeah. So if there could be a group with, very divergent viewpoints, then we are going to have an all-around perspective on, say, share market investing. At the same time, if there could be groups on real estate, because the real estate of Goa would be very different from that of Noida versus Delhi and so on. So if there could be a group like that where people could exchange ideas and talk about it, and if you could start that, it's going to be very, very different from your core competency, I believe, but that would be a good platform for people to exchange ideas on other things as well. So that was a suggestion to you. I've myself been part of two companies where one company got sold out and the other company got bought over. I mean, they bought over another company. So was part of a couple of PEs where that investment was done. So I understand how the due diligence is done typically in getting the valuation of a company. But that typically the valuation of a large company is possible, surprisingly. For a startup, I think there are many, many angles to it, which gets very, very complicated. So would really, typically a large business should be more complicated in valuation and a small company should be easier to understand. But there could be many, many angles in a small company which would not be visible to investors like us. So the kind of due diligence which is expected has to be really deep and really you've got to interrogate the original investors to find out the real valuation of a company. So I hope it is done like that, because nothing is in public domain. Everything.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but everything is in public domain. There are the same SEBI is there, same Ministry of Corporate Affairs is there, same Registrar of Companies is there, which is there for the listed companies, right? So this everything, all the filings are there. There are very steep laws, very strict laws, very strict implementation, right? So nobody can do hanky-panky in that. So everything is filed. Just to tell you, because you said real estate, I've spent a lot of years into real estate. I was from 2009 to 2018 I was in real estate, and my project, you might have known about it. It's I sold off that project. It was worth 750 crores called London Mart. I was one of the directors, and that is in Noida Extension. It is a commercial project. So in past I have done advisory for real estate for HNIs, and we raised around structured 100 crores for Ansal API DLF. We structured around 40 crores. So a lot of builders I personally worked with, and yes, it's a good one, but we have to wait for some times, because right now there are some few groups, 3 or 4, which are active. We are building this community more, and then we can hive off a community which is strictly interested into real estate, right? Because if we include these discussions, this might not be liked by some people. But yes, real estate could be included in a separate discussion group, as well as the stock market. So I have been investing in 2 stocks since 2003. So I can share a lot of my experience, and I would love to have the experience of others, right? I actively trade till date, so we can discuss that. Obviously, everything, this entire angel network, everything, whatever you invest, VC, the end point is the stock market, right? So everybody should learn about that, should know about it. There are a lot of opportunities available. We can have that discussion as well, and we can put a certain day, maybe regularly, maybe Sunday or something, and then we can have such kind of discussions regularly. But we have to limit the time.
Shishir, I would like to speak to you for 10 minutes whenever you have time. I am on professional crossroads right now.
Okay, no issues.
And would need some advice. So whenever you have time, I'll just WhatsApp to you, and whenever you fix a time, I'd like to speak to you for 10 minutes precisely.
Yeah, so Sanjana is there in the call, but she will share you the details of Anjali. So you can connect with Anjali, and mostly she is helping me as of now for managing the entire schedule. So definitely she will discuss with me and find out a time, and we will have this back to back for the entire day. You might not believe it. but till night 8:30, 9 o'clock, sometimes 10 o'clock, I get back-to-back calls. This is how managing an ecosystem is really difficult.
Right. But I really appreciate your efforts.
For sure. Thank you.
Would love to chat with you maybe as soon as possible.
Definitely. All right. So I think we can close this session now. Thank you so much for joining in, and we'll try to have another session soon for answering all your queries and questions. In case any one of you is willing to invest into Garuda or Crypt Media, please let us know. Kajal is there in all the groups as an admin, right? So besides me, Kajal is there as an admin. You can contact her. She's not available today, but tomorrow she's available. And these are good investments. You can participate in that. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. I have shared Anjali Sirodhia's number in the chat. You can note her down and schedule your call with sir, those who want to ask questions. Also, I have shared my email ID, sanjana@startuplanes. You can mail me your queries and questions, which will be forwarded to sir. Thank you so much for attending this meet.